Every day, a sea of humanity rushes through CVG to catch planes. But as darkness descends, planes with a different kind of cargo take over the tarmac, and massive buildings on the outer edge of the airport begin to buzz. Welcome to the often hidden world of air freight. Each night at this shipping hub, an average of 300,000 packages are scanned, sorted, and sent to far-flung destinations.
This is the border.
Officers of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, are on the front lines here in a never-ending battle to catch contraband.
You're kind of playing a game of hide and seek out there with the bad guys, right?
And the criminals are getting better at hiding the drugs. Here at the Port of Cincinnati, CBP officers have seized heroin hidden in shampoo bottles, meth molded into cell phone cases, and containers of fentanyl melted inside candles.
I never cease to be amazed by the ingenuity of the drug traffickers and the way they try to conceal the narcotics.
All right, we'll go to the other side.
It's just after 1 a.m., and a highly trained canine named Bruno sniffs, then sits next to this box being shipped from the U.S. to Australia.
Is this just...
That's a sign.
Oh.
A cue that drugs are inside. A trip over to an X-ray machine reveals something tucked inside a crock pot.
So what's in there? Some substance? Possibly.
Officers waste no time opening the package. Plastic bags are pulled out with sparkling white crystals inside.
So that's crystal meth. Absolutely.
Officer Neil Legeman asked me to help him test it.
We're going to break this first ampule first.
This one, the colored one?
Purple means positive for meth.
Oh. Wow. So that's positive, right?
That's very
That's a
positive.
strong positive.
That is a hard yes.
There's a lot of it.
That's a kilo of meth.
Yep, kilo meth, 2.2 pounds.
According to CBP, the street value for this amount of meth in Australia is $400,000 US. At the Port of Cincinnati in 2022, CBP officers seized 1,879 pounds of meth in 110 seizures, with a total street value of $13,410,000. Back at the X-ray machine, officers are taking a close look at a shipment from Ecuador, labeled as coconut oil.
Go through the test to show that it's actually not coconut oil.
So that's positive.
Yep,
That's ketamine?
ketamine.
Known on the streets as Special K, ketamine is a powerful anesthetic and hallucinogen, sometimes used to commit sex crimes.
We're talking date rape drugs.
Yeah.
It only takes a drop of ketamine in a drink to sedate a victim. There are hundreds of ounces of ketamine in these bottles.
Is it like this every night?
Absolutely.
In 2022, CBP officers at the Port of Cincinnati seized 465 pounds of ketamine in 46 shipments. Also confiscated last year, nearly 730 pounds of cocaine, 117 pounds of opium, 42 pounds of heroin, and 1,541 pounds of marijuana.
Oh, okay, I see it.
That around there?
Yeah. So that looks like a normal karaoke machine.
And inside that karaoke machine,
Whoa, so it is.
bags of marijuana.
Look at what he's got.
This is outbound. This is going to the Caribbean.
A pound of high-grade pot. CBP officers in Cincinnati are considered some of the best.
We do a very good job, but obviously we see that stuff does make it through.
The officers say that means they'll work even harder
Drives you to find the next shipment.
in a never-ending search to find hidden drugs before the packages fly away. Dwayne Pullman, Local 12 News. It's the middle of the night at a massive air freight hub at the Port of Cincinnati.
All right, we'll go to the other side.
Prime time for officers of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP,
Yeah. Look at what he's got.
in their never-ending search to catch contraband.
Oh,
Every night, the officers and their canines uncover narcotics.
That's a kilo of meth.
Yep, kilo of meth, 2.2 pounds.
And other illegal drugs.
If it shows up here and we don't catch it, it's gone and out on the street.
But different kinds of drugs flown in from across the planet pose a different kind of danger.
So we do have some pharmaceuticals and things like that in our tool room here.
CBP's chief supervisor in Cincinnati, Eric Zisselman, agrees to take us inside the hidden world of illegal pills and fake pharma.
So what are we looking at here?
We got a number of things here. This shipment we had amongst a bunch of food. We have a container.
The container, captured by customs officers, is packed with prescription pills from Europe.
So this is Zolpidem, which is essentially Ambien.
That's a controlled substance.
It absolutely is.
While the pills look legit, no one knows yet what's really lurking inside these blister packs. And that unknown, CBP's port director in Cincinnati says, makes illegal pills and fake pharma very dangerous.
But there could be toxic additives, there could be any number of things. So they might be getting a prescription that could be deadly.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has an entire section on its website warning about the dangers of counterfeit medicine. Nearby, another box
This is kind of a smorgasbord.
full of pharma for men.
We have testosterone, so sildenafil.
Yeah.
This is the active ingredient
Right.
in the drug Viagra. So if you open this up,
Oh, it even looks like the little blue pill.
the little blue pill.
And there are boxes of the generic version of Cialis, too. FDA has published several warnings about tainted sexual enhancement products, stating some contain hidden ingredients and may pose a significant health risk. Yet, here's a box full of all kinds of illegal sexual enhancement products, sent from India, shipped to the U.S., and captured in Cincinnati.
All of it caught here.
Yes, illegally introduced into the country.
That's crazy.
Last year, CBP in Cincinnati seized 138 illegal shipments of erectile dysfunction drugs with a value of nearly $3.3 million. Up next, vials labeled as Botox.
What we have here is a box full of what appears to be Botox injection, right?
Each box in this batch from India can fetch $1,000. There are 72 of them.
That's 72 grand worth of Botox, or at least it appears to be.
Right, if this were legitimate.
Botox is invisible, and while the vials are clear, what's inside is not.
Do you know if this is real Botox?
Right.
So you could be injecting yourself with who knows what. You don't know.
That could kill you.
Absolutely.
Just as frightening, who is ordering the illegal Botox?
We've found shipments just like this going to doctors' offices.
Last year, CBP officers at the Port of Cincinnati seized 310 packages of illegal Botox, injectables, and fillers.
We've had a lot of very significant seizures.
In 2022, CBP officers in Cincinnati seized 1,385 illegal prescription items, including fake pharma, with a value of more than $7.4 million. But CBP says seizing fake pharma involves something much more valuable than money.
Are your agents saving lives?
Every day.
Let's do it.
Dwayne Pullman, Local 12 News.
Luxury purses, handbags,
They look like the real things,
tennis shoes, belts, watches,
but they're not.
These are knockoffs.
all knockoffs.
Big name makeup is made up
That looks like the real thing.
and often hides toxic ingredients.
You don't know what's actually in there.
These top-end tumblers are too good to be true.
Those aren't real.
These are not real. I wouldn't be surprised if this was contaminated metal.
Imitation jewelry
Looks like the real thing.
reflects insane values.
If they were real, they'd be $60,000 a
And
piece.
that's a knockoff?
It's a knockoff bracelet.
Even championship bling
That looks like the real deal.
doesn't ring true.
Fake.
And these fake Air Jordans
These are $12,000?
$12,000 shoe.
don't fly.
Good Lord.
80% of all counterfeits coming to America are made in China.
And it says right there, made in China. This is a knockoff.
Yes, absolutely. There's hundreds of thousands of stamps in these shipments we're getting.
Even these counterfeit U.S. postage stamps came in a box stamped made in China.
Postage stamps made in China. American.
All counterfeits are criminal.
Blatantly illegal.
Blatantly.
At the Port of Cincinnati, officers of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, seized a lot of this contraband.
And you caught all this?
We got it all.
Last year, CBP officers in Cincinnati seized 1,056 shipments of counterfeit products, with a total retail value of more than $105 million. Impressive, but it's nothing next to the number of fake goods flooding the U.S. According to this report, published by the Research Division of the Library of Congress, counterfeiting is the largest criminal enterprise in the world, with global sales of counterfeit and pirated goods totaling between an estimated $1.7 and $4.5 trillion a year.
Intellectual property rights violations and counterfeiting has been tied to all sorts of nefarious organizations, whether it's drug trafficking, other various criminal enterprise, extremists, entities, you
So
name
you're
it.
talking terrorist groups?
Potentially, yes.
We saw signs of that criminal influence.
What we have here are cell phone jammers. So
Whoa. Cell phone jammers.
Yep. Turn this item on, and it interrupts the cell phone signal within a certain radius of this device, right?
Sophisticated devices that help criminals shut down calls that might turn them in.
This is gang stuff or whatever.
Could be gang, could be cartel, could be anything.
While criminals are profiting from this black market, according to that research report, counterfeiting and piracy costs U.S. businesses more than $200 billion a year and leads to the loss of more than 750,000 jobs. And the number of knockoffs is increasing and growing in sophistication. Officers are seizing a new level of knockoffs, from holographic etched plastic to make fake driver's licenses,
Look at that. It's got the seal and everything.
to fraudulent social security cards ready for numbers and names, to do-it-yourself degrees.
Doctor of Psychology.
This is a fake diploma.
It's clear the counterfeiters have graduated to a whole new level as CBP officers continue to learn better ways to make the criminals fail at delivering their fake goods.
If we don't stop it, it continues on.
Dwayne Pullman, Local 12 News.
Okay.
In a lab nestled inside one of America's busiest air freight hubs,
You found this.
Yes.
I joined Biological Threat Operations Specialist Sharon Bishop of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, as she inspects suspicious packages she just pulled from conveyor belts that buzz outside.
So we have a box here. It's not been opened.
It's a shipment from the UK to Chicago with a code that's a clear warning about what's inside.
A UN 3373 Category B, those are sort of bookends saying that this is an infectious substance.
I quickly remove myself from the equation.
You take over now.
Specialist Bishop does take over.
So when you open it, if you want to, so you have a little box that contains some vials.
My goodness, it says DNA on it.
But little else is known. Whatever is in those vials, the packages won't protect people from the pathogens.
That's a clear and present threat, is it not?
Yes, it's a clear and present threat as it is right now.
Nearby, a cooler and a manifest that states the contents are infectious.
I'm just going to pop the lid.
A document declares,
That this is animal DNA that is infectious,
Right.
correct?
wrong. Another document states,
The samples are derived from human, so that doesn't match at all.
That's a
You're not going to open this.
I am not going to open that.
I appreciate that.
Specialist Bishop is on the front lines of defending America, part of CBP's biological threat teams, which began operating in 2021. trained to pluck vials of pathogens from packages that are being sent around the world every day.
We're wanting to make sure that we don't introduce the next COVID.
That includes COVID-19 itself.
Have you caught any illegitimate shipments of
COVID,
SARS?
Of COVID, I may have caught one or two.
This shipment of COVID proteins was not labeled properly, and the vials were loose. They had to be repacked, but were eventually allowed to ship. While most of the violations Bishop catches are technical, other shipments are very real and deadly threats. These loosely packed glass vials and bubble wrap, seen in an X-ray image, hold blood.
It was drawn from a horse suspected to be infected with glanders.
Glanders, seen here under a microscope, glanders is a bacteria that's deadly to horses and people. According to the CDC, without treatment with specific antibiotics, as many as 9 of every 10 people who get it die. Even with the correct antibiotics, CDC says up to 5 of 10 people die.
So if that shipment had broken at any point in the process, the vials were glass, if it had cut somebody and exposed them to that, then it's very likely they would have died.
The vials were destroyed.
Does this keep you awake at night?
Sometimes.
I mean,
I have worried at times before, yes. Just allow me to look at this for a
I'm
minute.
gonna step back.
While we were there, a package with organic material from Russia was too troubling for Bishop to open.
We're going to leave this like this.
Okay.
Despite the danger, dedication drives Bishop and CBP specialists to pinpoint the next threat from pathogens in the packages.
This is very important to every single person on the planet.
Dwayne Pullman, Local 12 News.
They aren't providing that information.
But it's not, I mean, if